Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. We are here for the finals. The fight that everybody's been waiting for. Agilitas versus Potato Boys, one of the marquee matchups we have in the entire Challenger Cup, let alone the European version of things. Agilitas going to go ahead and ban Odin. My name is F. Dot, and as always, well, not as always, this special week we do have hi-rez joining us on the call. How you feel about these first couple of bans? We see an Athena ban, an Odin ban, an Aphrodite ban, which is targeted directly at Confrey, and a Mercury ban.
They're nice bans, but it's leaving a lot of stuff on board. Not sure about the first 4 pick, but now the potato boys have some really good gobs in the pool. I don't like the Vulcan.
The Vulcan is interesting. We'll probably see that on Arrow. Arrow plays a spectacular Vulcan. This is a very good and prototypical draft, honestly, coming out from these two teams. Thor directly picked for Erepikos, fantastic. We saw it last game. Rom, we mentioned before, that is Suntouch's Hunter. That's what you pick. If you have Suntouch playing in your Hunter role, you have to pick Rom first pick. That's sort of just something you have to deal with. With that person on your roster. Vulcan, though, on Arrow, we saw it last week. I'm very excited to see him reprise his role. Ra and Nuwa picked up for Agilitas. We're gonna see some Mage Rage.
I don't think Ram's really necessary for first pick, especially when you got Apollo on the board too.
Yeah, I mean it's about this individual roster. Apollo, Suntouch does play Apollo well. I don't mean to make it seem like Suntouch is a one god wonder, but the ROM play from Suntouch is much different from every other Hunter on the board. So while most other teams would go ahead and pick the Apollo, the ROM here is almost needed. Geb is going to round out the picks for that. I love the Geb pick. ROM Geb, kind of prototypical lane. So what we're going to look for Agilitas is that Mage Rage. Ra and Nuwa just so incredible.
I'm amazed at how far down the Jeb got.
Yeah. That is,
Frey hasn't even been picked yet. What is this?
This is the Agilitas and Potato Boys, my friend. We see a lot of interesting stuff coming out from these two teams time and time again. So we're gonna take a look at how this works out. Counter bans are out. They're gonna ban the Ymir for Kanye Life, of course, and Circuit is gonna be banned out. You mentioned last time that Proxy's been playing Circuit in ranked.
Yeah, in the solo lane. I don't know, I mean, it works in ranked, but would it work in a competitive scene, in your opinion?
With the way Proxy plays, it might. Confrey is definitely very tough competition. But honestly, Proxy's a very good player, and we've seen him make everything work. He's actually got a list of unconventional things that he wants to play in the solo lane. He's already checked off weird things like Shibalanki, etc. So definitely some interesting stuff coming out from his solo lane. Zhang Kui will be locked in for Potato Boys, so we're most likely going to see a Zhang Kui being played by Proxy. Not exactly Proxy's type of play style, I would say.
In your opinion, would you ban Ymir over Freya?
No. Not at all.
Freya's broken, dude.
The Freya pickup is insane.
It's amazing how she got past the first set of bans. She got the first set of bans, first 3 picks on each team, second set of bans, and then she gets picked.
Yep.
How? How?
This Freya Ares is going to be very interesting. Kanye Life has a very good Ares. I actually really like these two teams because of how unconventional their comfort picks are. I'm not going to go ahead and call Ares a comfort pick just yet. It's game 1. They're building a comp that they believe in. Kali's going to be picked up for the Potato Boys. Kali's been played a lot since Zergar's played her in the SPL. Has received a very slight buff, and players have been happy with it. As a jungler, are you attracted to Kali since the buff? Kali is an interesting choice. I will take that as the answer.
Sorry, I was pressing the wrong button. Push to talk.
It's all right. No problem.
I'm going
at
back
all.
to sleep. But yeah, I don't like the Kali pick. I think she needs farm, and in jungle you're assisting lanes, and you're not really farming as much as you would in a solo.
Yeah, it's Kali's a one-dimensional pick. And I am historically not a fan of junglers whose job it is to just kill. And that's really all Kali brings to the table. When you pick a Hun Bats, you have team fight orientation. When you pick a Freya, you have setup with banish. There's so much more that these junglers can do. Kali's job is to murder and just murder. We've seen her do fantastic in competitive environments, but that's just it.
I mean, you can line a combo up with a free, but it's more, as I was saying, farm. It's boring.
Exactly. It's all about that chin size. Once you get that chin size on deck, you actually become Kali, as opposed to beforehand where you're just sort of not. We're going to go see if Kali can make it into the game and how well she can do as the game gets late. We're going to take a look at Arrow's Vulcan, and most importantly for Agilitas, we will take a look at the Mage Rage. Both Confrey and Pretty Prime will be playing on some mages, so stay tuned. We're going to take a look at that in just a couple of minutes. Game 1 of your Week 6 European Finals incoming. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the finals of the Week 6 of the European Challenger Cup. We have Agilitas and Potato Boys, the #1 marquee matchup we've seen in this finals for 5 weeks running. 6th week is no surprise. We see these two teams up here front and center, two of the more talented teams in our, frankly, entire Challenger Cup, let alone Europe. We're going to go ahead and cut to a brief break while we get some things sorted out, folks. We're going to bring you the entire game in its entirety in just a couple of seconds. Stay tuned and bear with us. We promise we'll bring you some fun. Sorry about that, folks. Here we are right back into the action. Agilitas versus Potato Boys one more time. We're going to take a look at how they do in the finals. As we said before, this is the 5th week. This is the 6th week running that we do see this matchup in the finals. They've gone up against each other 5 times. Agilitas has taken the crown all 5 of those times. So a very powerful lineup for these two teams. For Agilitas specifically, but Potato Boys as well. Here to provide some resistance. Very rarely do Agilitas win 2-0. Potato Boys like to push it to a Game 3, as there is talent on that roster. Joining me for today's cast will be hi-rez, jungler for Mortality Esports team in the middle of the running of the European SPL.
Yep, that's me.
That's him.
You can find my Twitter at twitter.com/hi-rez, and you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/hi-rez.
We'll get some exciting insight into the minds of our pro hopeful players here tonight. Agilitas starting on the right-hand side, Potato Boy starting on the left-hand side. We're going to see a little bit of a contention. Kanye Life and Ataraxia just walking right up behind the turret and picking up these harpies. Suntouch taking a lot of damage from the chains, and Arrow as well, so that'll be some good distance. Love that decision from Agilitas to go ahead and invade on those mid-harpies. Because Vulcan was there, he dropped the turret, and that's his only ability. They can work around it. They see how it's zoned out, and they just go ahead and take it. Kanye and Ataraxia also want to make a play on the blue buff. Gets the chains onto Suntouch. Not a lot of damage Ares can do to the minions, so just going for the player damage right here. Freya as well giving some damage, and Suntouch sitting halfway, and Dirgy is about 75% HP.
I do love this start by the red team. The blue team just don't seem to be benefiting from it whatsoever. Because you got the red team, they got the blue buff, and they didn't lose any waves. Or they lost a wave, but they didn't lose a wave that blue team gained because they lost them too.
And we're going to see a good speed buff invade from Potato Boys. This is exactly the invade we saw in the last match, and it looks like Agilitas know what's going to come. Kanye Life wraps around his back turret, and Repicas and Pretty Prime are following from the mid lane. Kanye Life and Ataraxia in a bad spot now, but here come the rest of Agilitas. There's a great Berserker Barrage coming up from Repicas, making use of that passive, giving him the extra power, and Dirgius will fall to the hand of the jungler. First blood going the way of Repicas and his team, Agilitas.
Seeing Ares level, Ares is still level 1. 2 minutes into the game and he's still level 1. Oh no, it's just doing 2.
But yeah, just not enough coming off from that invade. Suntouch taking some decent damage. This Freya Ares lane will not have much push. but they will have a lot of poke and a lot of damage, and if they want to get a kill, I'm sure they will get it. Kanye Live taking a couple of hits from that Vulcan turret left there in the jungle, and that's going to force him to back if he wasn't already planning on it. Ataraxia level 4, Suntouch level 4, so even at the moment in the Hunter role, taking a look at the middle lane, here is Arrow's lauded Vulcan against Pretty Prime's Ra.
Yeah, you're going to find at the 3-minute mark too, with Potato Boys, they can actually contest both mid-harpies, because the 4 is still level 4, and he's not going to be 5 for mid-camps.
And that will make a big impact on how Agilitas can choose to react or engage onto these mid-harpies. We like to see everybody about level 5. That will ultimates come online, and that's really beneficial to the teams that want to engage on the mid harpies. So Agilitas kind of need these harpies more so than the other. They're lagging a little bit behind in experience by about 500. It's nothing to write home about, but it's something to mention. There's the ultimate from Thor looking up in the skies. He wants to fight Adapting, but Adapting will play it coy and backstep and avoid the ultimate altogether. A good stun will confirm a hammer and a chain, but that's it, and Adapting doesn't even mind. Still sitting pretty at about 90% HP. Not a big deal, and Potato Boys will go ahead, pick up the right.
I lied. Thor did get level 5 for mid-camps. I'm the best shot caller in the world.
Didn't get anything off of it, though.
No, he did waste his ultimate, because Potato Boys did notice, and they just backed off and got both mid-camps for it.
Yep, I love the play coming out from Kali. No special jumps, no interesting deeks, just stopped moving. You have to lead that ultimate from Thor. It's, how big is that delay when you're ulting it on Thor?
I think it's about 2.5 seconds, so it's a really strong delay.
Yeah, and you have to read where your enemy is going to go, and Kali, by just literally standing still, juked better than if she had moved. Those small plays really impressed me when we watch players like this, Adapting a very, very strong character. Some might say Adapting is the strongest, one of the stronger players on Potato Boys, despite not being one of the bigger names. We have Suntouch, Dergius, and Proxy QQ. All of which have been played in prominent teams. Suntouch and Proxy QQ have had seen more success, but Dergius, a big member of the community, always doing stuff on Reddit and also doing well for himself on I5. Would you know anything about that?
I think he performed really well. Like, he got the most out of Osiris. That was his god pool, and he's really increased it since he's left I5. That's what I've noticed. Like, he started pulling the Merc out the bag, the 4 out the bag. Got Kali this game. I just think his god pool's really, really increased.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see. We saw shining moments of Adapting when he was playing for I5. He replaced some garbage jungler that left the team. Just untalented individual, and got replaced by Adapting. So,
who was it?
I think it was this guy called iRaffer.
Sounds familiar.
Just playing around.
And look where iRaffer is now.
All right.
He's on a cast. Streamed. He's on a stream casting with some baddies. Sorry, I got my words mixed up. Hangover.
Not a big deal as Kali.
I'm gonna go cry. Buff. I can't cast this game. I'm going.
Pinged out on the red buff is Kali. She wants to pick this out. Pinged out by her own team. I don't really see an invade coming out from Agilitas onto the red buff anytime soon. So the mid camps are coming up rather soon, and
rip.
We will see the mid camps in just a couple of seconds. We're going to cut to a brief break, and we'll get the mid camp game back to you very soon. 1-0 is Agilitas. We'll see you in a second. Hello and welcome back, folks. We're going to get right back into the action. Mid-camps are spawning on the left side of your screen. Here's a fight. Good stun coming out from Thor. Beam going to come from Ra, not too much. And Kanye Life wants to keep pressing on, but his team has already retreated. They know that these right-hand camps are going to spawn as well. Want to start a skirmish here. They didn't burn everything. Still, cooldowns are still up, so that's going to be good for them. Pretty Prime still has ultimate available to him. We also see a Thor ultimate, which probably won't be used in the middle of the fight. They're actually just going to relinquish these right-hand harpies for nothing.
I
Interesting
would have
choice there.
contested that if I was Agilitas because they had the 4 ultimate into Rare ultimate, new Rare ult, because it's global and she can still split push. They could have definitely won a fight then, as well as the mid camps.
Exactly. I that would have been. I think we should have seen a fight right there. Agilitas still, however, are up about 500 gold. They are trailing about 300 experience, so a little bit shared right there. I want to mention this Freya start. So Freya,
I don't know. I don't like that.
Freya is starting. Freya is playing in the long lane, the hunter role. Started off with a cursed blade. This will build into a witch blade. Physical protection, movement speed, and attack speed. That is interesting. Honestly, I kind of like this.
I like it for the fact that she's obviously thought about it because she's against a Kali. Kali's based on attack speed after she gets a Queen size, but I don't like it for the lane clear. That's the only problem for me. I would prefer boots.
Yeah, boots would be nice. The attack speed will, of course, help. Ataraxia on that Freya will scale off of attack speed, not as much, but similarly to magical power because of the way the steroid works. It's up for 5 seconds, and as many pulses that you can pump out in those 5 seconds are there. So you'll see 10% attack speed is going to give her 1 at first, and as she levels up, we'll see maybe a second come out in addition. And the Fatalis is online, which is really important. However, I think rushing the Fatalis is more of a jungle Freya play than a lane Freya play.
Yes, that's definitely true because the amount of attacks you get off, and you can stick to people. That's the main.
Exactly.
That's the main purpose of it. Sticking.
Early Gold Fury completely deterred by one simple move from Ataraxia. Love to see that. Ares ultimate gonna go ahead and pull one underneath the tower. Adapting, taking a lot of damage, but a beautiful destruction from him is going to be all she wrote. Kanye Life does pick up adapting after that destruction falls, and Suntouch gonna put out some damage on Pretty Prime as he goes in the air, but not enough to go ahead and kill the enemy.
So, who do you think will win the 5v5 team fights for both these team comps?
At the moment, we take a look at the actives, and we have one pair of beads. We have beads on adapting after that death, of course, and beads on Suntouch. Vulcan has blink. Beads are on cooldown. Sergius doesn't have either, and Proxy's hidden in the solo lane. Ares can be very powerful here at the moment. Agilitas aggressed on the Gold Fury. They're going to go ahead and release it because they want to start this fight. Kanye Life going to pick up Dirgius. That's a big kill. It's going to be the second kill for that Ares, and aggressing onto Arrow is Ataraxia all the way from the dual lane. He's going to get hit up, but a good spacing move coming out from Kanye Life. Going to go ahead and pick up the Gold Fury. Pick up the disengage. Gold Fury aggressed on for the 3rd time in 1 minute.
They really want this Gold Fury.
Both teams want this. Ultimate comes out from Pretty Prime, and the final hit will go to Agilitas. So the Gold Fury finally falls. Interesting. 2,300 gold in the lead is Agilitas. That fight went on since about that was about 2 minutes over a single Gold Fury. Both teams engaged on it.
Yeah, Potato Boys kept taking too much pokes, so essentially they didn't have enough to defend it for the third time. They used too many cooldowns and took too much poke. I would have preferred, instead of the Gold Fury, invade some buffs. That would have been my ideal plan.
Yeah, definitely invading some buffs would have been an interesting play. Definitely would have been an interesting play. They can't press F6 just yet, but they might be able to press F12 and go ahead and double their chances at surviving. So we'll go ahead and see if they can produce something like that for their team. We see Ares in the middle lane coming out, trying to just sort of defend the tower. We're going to see how that works out in the long run. And taking a look at the long lane, Ataraxia is all by herself. Everyone for Potato Boys is backing at the same time. I like to think that... So, that's actually a good question. Teams, is staggering your back an actual thing? Do you think about that in a competitive environment?
I don't. A lot of players probably do, but I don't really think about it. It's just when the gold's up, that's when you've got to watch out.
Right hand lane, down comes Thor, down goes Proxy. 4th kill for Agilitas on the board, just shy of 12 minutes in. That Thor is getting very, very strong. That's his 2nd kill, alongside 2 assists for him as well. Fantastic play coming out as Kali rotates in the jungle.
I think the thing to notice then in the right lane was the communication with the Thor. She knew he was there, so
Yep.
she baited him so far up the lane that he had to go all in the zone, and he ended up getting punished for it.
Ataraxia pushback on this tower. This is what we were talking about. Not a lot of clear. I mean, Freya doesn't have clear in general, especially in juxtaposition to the Rom, but the Fatalis, we're taking a look at an enchanted trinket. Where do you see... Is this going to be a Polynomicon?
I hope not. I really hate the Polynomicon. I used to like it, but when it got nerfed, nah, big no for me.
100% agree. There's just not enough math on that side, but there's a lot of people in the middle side. Tower's going to go down already, just shy of 13 minutes, and good. So Agilitas played that fantastically. They tower dove really hard. Maybe they weren't pretending, looking for kills, and they just immediately turned on the tower. Objective, keeping in mind that the game's about objectives. You can always respawn, but your towers don't.
Yeah, it's true. I also like Thor's decision to max his hammer too, because he knows he's against a Jeb, so you're not going to have enough time to use your free, because they're going to get shielded and mitigate all the damage. But using the hammer, it's like a big burst, so you could possibly kill him before the shield gets on him.
Yeah, that's really what you want to pay attention to. And right now, Potato Boys are going to try and pay attention to these left-hand Harpies. They actually won both, and it looks like they're going to get them. Dirgy is picking up the left-hand side. Proxy rotating over from Solo to pick up the right. But a great ult coming out from Pretty Prime will get those. Proxy's going to get low as well, thanks to Repicos with the hammer and the basic. And another kill going the way of that Thor. That's the 5th one for the team. The 3rd one on that jungler. Kanye Life not going to be able to pull arrow. Does have those beads off. Cooldown 120 seconds on those till the next time. So we will see another Ares ult before those beads are up. Might see him directly target that Vulcan because he knows that they're down.
Just look at the damage on that Thor. On the way back, I think that's dealing 400 or 500 damage, and it's taking 2/3 of someone's health.
Yeah, it's... Repicos is out of control right now. He's 1 level beneath the mid laner, but he's a level and a half above his enemy jungler. Sun Touch Force underneath his tier 2 tower. Agilitas absolutely running this game. They fear absolutely nothing here. Their lead is 4,000 gold, almost 5,000 gold. They have the only 5 kills on the board. Arrow lifted up. Arrow will be aggressed on. That Fatalis is good, but the kill will go to Ataraxia, and she's in the air looking for Dirgius. Good shield on himself, so not a big deal, but Thor in the air, coming down, hits Dirgius, gets the kill on him, gets the kill on his 80 carry, and down goes Sun Touch, the entire duo lane. Tier 1 tower and Tier 2 tower. You mentioned it before. Look at that damage on that Thor.
He can basically one-shot someone in a combo. You get ultimate into your 1 with your auto attacks too, they're pretty much dead. There's no way they can get out of that.
Pythagotheorem's Piece. How often have you seen this item built, if ever?
What is the item?
Pythagotheorem's Piece is an item. It's going to give mana, which doesn't really matter in my opinion. It'll give 70 magical power. It would actually give 90 magical power. But it's 70 magical power plus 20 magical power and 10% magical lifesteal to your team as well. It's an interesting choice.
Ah, yes. I see now. That's,
yeah.
I think they're just doing it because they're ahead. You wouldn't usually build that.
Yeah, I mean, with the Cursed Blade coming out at first that wasn't finished, I was ready to see some interesting stuff, so I don't know. I would like to speak to Frey about that build. Ataraxia generally knows what he's talking about. So the Pythagotheorem's Piece, take a look at the team. Confrey and Pretty Prime can honestly both make use of the extra magical power, and magical lifesteal is just sort of sprinkles, really not looking for it, but a 20% magical, but a plus 20 magical power aura is interesting. I don't hate this build, put it that way.
Yeah, the Ares could have built into that because he gets
Aura.
passive Yeah, he gets passive magic power off getting auras, and it's going to benefit the Freya too. Give a lifesteal, give the Ares lifesteal too. So it's an okay item. I wouldn't build it myself, but I understand why people build it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the insight. 4 magical players on one team, so they go ahead and pick the magical aura. Interesting. Definitely something to think about. That game was won very quickly by Agilitas. We're going to go into game 2 very shortly and see how Potato Boys respond. Can they break it to a game 3, or will Agilitas take this very quickly for the 6th week in a row running? We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.